Hey guys, what's up? This is just like gonna be some quick thoughts here. I don't feel good today. I'll give time for a couple of you to get in here. Hey, how are y'all? What's going on today? Welcome to the corner. I have sat back and I have just watched YouTube explode the last couple of days. And I have sat back and I have just kind of watched Jody Sue freak out about my son being doxxed. My son being doxxed. Well, don't we all know who her son is by now? Come on, really, don't we? What is she worried about? That Don is going to say that the other neighbor searching with her was her son? Come on, wouldn't that make sense? That the other neighbor searching with Jody Sue would be who? What would make sense there? Fill in the blank. She is so worried about her son being doxxed. She's already said she could not hold herself up that day, that he was having to hold her up. So evidently he was there. So what is such the big deal about him being down at that creek bottom? Let's get real about it. What is the big deal about her son being down at that creek bottom? Nobody else is willing to say it, so I will say it. It was her son that was down there at that creek bottom with them. Come on now. Hey, Annette. Let's get real about it. And I'm having health problems. And let's just get for real. Now, Mr. Sherfy Sr. has said there was many times that Summer and the boys was down on the road playing, right? Other neighbors has said it too. With Jody Sue's health problems, how many times has her doctor told her not to drive? How many times have we seen her where she could not talk or hold her eyes open? And days before Summer come up missing, we seen her making videos running up and down that road, up and down that road, up and down that road. And she's the one putting the biggest red flags out there. I don't know what else to say about it. I don't know what else can be said. I don't know what else. But I bet you $1 to a donut, it was her son down at that creek bottom with them. It wasn't Don Sherfy Jr. Bet you. Bet money. Bet money. How many times have you heard Jody Sue worried about, oh, they're going to dox my son. They're going to dox my son. Well, we've all seen him on the news. We know who he is, right? So, what else is there to dox? The only thing left to dox is, he's the little punk monkey that was down at the creek helping look, or supposedly helping look for Summer. And she did say, I don't care what she says now, but she did say then that Andy was running late from work that day. And now she says he hasn't run late in 15 years, but he was running late that day. Right? Something's not right with Jody Sue's story. And I'm willing to bet what I got that it was her son on that creek. There may have been Philip down there too, but her son was there. What's left to dox? We know who he is. We've seen his pictures everywhere. We've heard his voice. So what's left to dox? I heard her yesterday hollering, they're going to dox my son. What's left to dox? The only thing left to dox on him is that he was there. And then that brings him into the story, right? Timeline or no timeline? He's going to fit into the timeline. She has made her timeline fit. But I guarantee, if somebody could get to her medical records, it would say she's not supposed to be driving. Bet money. Bet money, bet money. Or her medications are going to say, do not operate heavy machinery or drive while on this medication. So we'll see. There is red flags in her timeline. Big red flags. Afternoon, Oreo. Bam, Brock. And I have got a lot of her original stuff posted, but I don't think I have ever heard her say that both of her kids was down at that creek bottom with her. If I missed that, if I honest to God missed that in her original statement, not something she said later, in her original statement, please email that to me. Well, here's the thing, Rose. She put herself in this. Now, the property has been abandoned. Neither her or Andy is staying at that property. They refused the property to be searched on the first day. After years of being together, having kids together, her and Andy just decides to break up just days after Summer's disappearance. There is big red flags here. She had to make a statement to the police. She did not have to make a statement to YouTube. She did not have to make a statement to Facebook. She did not have to make money on YouTube. And I'm sorry. Y'all can unsubscribe if you want to, but I have to question people taking up for dope dealers. She has said and told how he has brought in 800 pounds at a time of meth into that community. She has been charged herself for running a trap house, and you people stand behind her. Yay, you. Way to go. In a way, that whole community is to blame. Weed, whatever. That whole community is to blame for that kid not being found. No, she said meth. I heard her clearly. She said meth. Hey, Connie. She said meth. She did not say weed. I recorded it because that was one of the links that I sent to TBI. That was one of the links that I very clearly set and recorded off of true crime commentary when she done those um, interviews with Penny, that night I sent the direct links to TBI that night as it was happening. Oh, I agree. I agree. Not all druggies. Meth heads do not want their own kids. Most meth heads don't feed their own. They don't keep their electricity on for their own. I agree. They don't want somebody else's kid. I agree. Well, I done bubbles because I haven't done makeup or anything like that today. I can do that. What I'm saying is, if Don would have seen Don Sherfy Jr. down there at the creek, why would he not speak up right then and say, hey, I seen this guy down here at the creek? There is absolutely no reason. Oh, the parents failed tragically. The parents are the biggest failures here of these children. They should never be allowed to have any more children. Ever. They should not even be able to babysit anybody else's children. But what I'm saying is, there was absolutely no reason for them not to be able to tell TBI, hey, this guy was down here and he was just in jail last month for child pornography. Check him out. It has got confusing because people have made it confusing. This community has made it confusing. That's what I'm telling y'all. This community has made the whole thing confusing. Exactly. Because, well, I think that the parents were running a trap house themselves, a heroin house. And I think that there were heroin addicts in and out of there constantly. That's my opinion. But that is only my opinion. I have no proof of that. Allie's phone call to get her kids out of there is kind of proof of a trap house right there. And I don't understand that law enforcement has, I mean, just gotten ridiculous. I mean, just ridiculous. And here's the bottom line with this. because it's a trap house. I found a thing on Sherry back years and years and years ago, and this would have been when Hunter was a baby, where he was out like, and I'm not sure it was Hunter. It just says a baby boy was out wandering the roads, and when they found the mother, she was drunk, and she had placed a couch in front of the door where he couldn't get out, and he had like climbed over the couch and got out the door and stuff like that. So I think Sherry is even just as bad, if not worse. And I think that's why Sherry is kind of staying out of the picture, is because she is kind of worse than Allie. You see what I'm saying? We're not seeing Sherry come forward. But if they would start arresting these people two by two by two, just like Noah filled up the ark, two by two by two, folks would start talking. I have no idea who Prayer Garden is for real, and I don't even care. I think that's a laughable joke. Ha ha. That's all I got to say. Sherry is supposed to be Allie's mom, I think. But when you look them up, I want you to look how close they all are in age. Sherry, Cassandra, and um, Allison, man, they are just stacked right on top of each other. They all had to be like 13 or 14 when the other one was born. I mean, they are, man. I've talked to Ronnie Lawson. He takes nothing serious. No, she didn't. Right. And you see these people going there. What you don't see is them picketing at places that really matter. Like where the elections are coming up at, you don't see them outside Ronnie Lawson's office. You don't see them at places that really matter like that. I knew they were at the wrong, for one, they were at the wrong TBI office. They were at the TBI office that collects and processes evidence. For one, they were not even where they were supposed to be. And they were told that numerous times before they even went. And a simple Google search would have fixed that. So that just shows you they're after just clicks and views. If it were me and I was going, first place I would hit with a whole line of people is Ronnie Lawson's office with a protest line. And I wouldn't take 2 or 3 with me. I mean, it would be like 100 people. It would be more than he could arrest at one time. Yeah, I'm kind of hard to swallow at first. Because I tell you what I'm really thinking. Yeah. It makes you wonder too about that controlled explosion that happened at Eastman too. And I thought, Lord have mercy, if they did bury her in the river right there, whatever they, exploded, they're just going to take that debris and push it off in the river there right on top of her. And that's the end of it. If there was any truth to it. Because it was a controlled, they say it's steam release, but it was a controlled explosion. Because what they specialize in is RDX, and that is an explosive material. And I had already been preaching about the RDX in the water that she was swimming in. Back in April, they had released 5,000 pounds of antifreeze into the water and 5,000 pounds of RDX. They only had a certain amount of time to get that out of the water, and it seems like it was by June or something like that. And that there was no way to get that much antifreeze and that much RDX explosive material, because the explosive material had been accumulating in that water since World War II. And, it accumulates in the soil up around the edges and the banks of that water. And it's been there for the past 100 years, And if she would have swallowed enough of that water, had she went underwater and she swallowed it, and they said it had been getting into people's well water. And Don Wells has probably not shot their well anytime recently. She probably already had a good buildup of that in her system, right? So I had already been thinking, well, after researching it, it says, death would have occurred within 2 hours. And I was like, holy shit, Candace freaked out. She got sick and she died. And they done away with her. Holy shit, that's probably what happened. But no way of proving it without a body. Yeah. That sun's getting bright. I don't like sunshine. I'm a night person. You don't see me much in the daytime. It was ethylene glycol and RDX that they had released off in that water. I mean, just not far from where she was swimming. And y'all remember in the beginning, Candace would not tell the truth about where they were swimming at all. She said that they were at the dam itself. She said that they were, down the river. And in the very beginning, she gave 3 or 4 locations of where they were at before she finally said that they were um, at the horse pond. It was a good, 2, 3, 4 days before we ever actually found out the horse pond was Mark X of where they were actually at. Exactly. And all I could think was, whomever they knew worked for that company helped her cover up for that glycol poisoning and that RDX poisoning. And that was the end of it. But until they decide to give us a body, we won't know. But the good thing about RDX and glycol is it will stay in the bones. That's something that will be detectable in like fingernails and stuff like that. I've done researched what is detectable and what's not. Arsenic is detectable. Y'all wouldn't believe the crap that I have researched. Hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. Just being an EMT and working search and rescue and seeing how people have disposed of bodies and seeing how people have just naturally come upon demise. I have put all that into play in my mind. I have tried thinking like a criminal. I have tried going back and putting everybody out that has come into play except for the mom and starting with just that. And then adding the grandma and starting with just that. And then adding the kid and starting with just that. And I have got pages and pages and pages. And that's the most plausible thing that I can find is the RDX and the glycol. That's plausible. With no foul play involved. That would be with absolutely no foul play involved. That would be with her just going underwater and swallowing you know, taking a couple of good gulps of water and coming back up. And if she really started getting cold, like has been reported, then that's what happened. Because just hypothermia don't make sense, because just feet away on the other side of the dam there is a water activity place, and there was kids all in the water, and I have made a video of that. And there was kids jumping off of rafts, there was kids going off of water slides, there was kids doing that just right on the other side of the dam. The water was the same, about the same temperature, same area. Exactly. So the water temperature would have had to been too cold for all, if too cold for one, unless she was already sick. People don't understand Appalachian weather that's not from here. And when they look at the water temperature, they go, oh, that's cold. And we go, oh, no, that's perfect water to jump in the creek. You know, it's hot here at those temperatures. I mean, it's weltering. When you open if you have leather seats in your car at that temperature, and you open your seats, you can actually see the heat rising. If you've never seen heat rise, you can see the heat rising off of your seats. And it's hot. And it's perfect temperature to go jump in the creek if you know where a creek's at. But here's another thing. That time of the year, snakes are waking up. Water snakes are waking up. And water snakes, they ball up to preserve body heat. And where that log is at in that water, we don't know what's under that log, right? Nobody has showed us what's under that log. Nobody has put an ROV and showed us exactly what's under that log, right? There could be a snake den under that log. We don't know, right? And she could have got too close to snakes waking up. It has been known to happen in the Appalachian Mountains. And she didn't, yeah, we know she didn't have proper nutrition. And a baby snake's venom is twice as deadly as an adult's, because it has never struck before. I can't listen to her either. I can't. A lot of people seem to flock in there, but you know, when she was on Ziggy's, I couldn't listen to her then. And Ziggy, God bless her soul, I can't listen to her either, because I cannot follow a 4, 5, 6, 7 hour live. I can't do that. A 1 hour live is enough for anybody, right? I just don't understand how anybody can go on for that long. And I seen her post something the other day about chocolate and Coke being the new puppy's favorite food, and I went, and didn't say a word. I did not go in to see what she was talking about. That was all I needed to hear. Gotcha. I've got, since doing search and rescue and people grabbing around my neck, trying to bring them in, and people don't realize that when they grab around your neck, and I understand they're scared and they panic, they grab around your neck, that they pull you under too. But I've got, now, if I cannot see the bottom of something, I don't want to get in it, because I have just seen so many tragic things in water that people have not been able to see the bottom of. So if the creek is not clear, I'm not going in. Unless I have to go in and get somebody. And then my adrenaline's pumping and my heart's going. And sometimes I really hate it. You know, I do. So, and this probably strike y'all really funny, but when I first started as an EMT and in search and rescue, I had a fear of water. I was scared of water. And in a way, I guess I still am. And now, well, no, I guess now it's a respect of water. But I feared water. I was scared of it. When I was 2, my brother threw me into the Tennessee River. He was gonna teach me how to swim, right? Yeah, throw you in, and you either swim or survive, right? Duh. And luckily, my dad come in and got me. And I remember my head going under that murky, dark water. And I was always fearful of water after that. I did learn to swim. I took swim lessons and all that. But I remember when we first started learning search and rescue, I was fearful of that. And my heart would pound every time we would get near water. I would almost cry every time we went in. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that so much. Y'all don't know what that means to me. You're a sweetheart, Jenna. Oh, absolutely. Especially around here, man. The hour and a half or the 2 hours that Candace can't account for. I think that she was taking Hunter home. That's my opinion. I think that Summer was left with the boys. I think that they were playing outside. If you want my honest opinion. And I've gave my theory many times. My theory is posted a lot. And after I gave my theory, Don Wells went and tore down the hunting blind that I gave my theory about. I think that Hunter actually went home with Candace that day from the horse pond. That's what I think. Now, whether the accident happened before she took Hunter home or after, I don't know. It could have went one of two ways. It could have went like this. Her and Hunter sitting up in the house getting high. No, she's not passed out yet. Okay? They're sitting in the house dabbing it up. Right? Dabbing it up means they're smoking weed. Or smoking, what is it? Hemp. Delta 8. Delta 8. Kids are outside playing, and they're down at the creek. Because how many times has she said they can go down to the creek as long as they have their buck knives and their walkie-talkies? They were sent down to the creek. Summer goes with. Hold on. They're playing hide and seek. They're doing whatever. Summer and the youngest one gets up in the hunting blind, and they're hiding. That middle board breaks loose, and Summer falls through. Summer hits her head on that limestone rock up underneath. One of the boys gets on the walkie-talkie and starts hollering for Candace. And Candace and Hunter comes running down to the creek, screaming, "What did you do? What did you do?" Now, it does not necessarily mean that blood is running because she has hit her head and knocked herself out, because that's not the way limestone rock works. They pick her up and they put her in the truck and they take off with her. Now, at this point, does she take Hunter home or does she go to meet Don? We don't know. Did she meet Jody Sue at the bottom of the driveway? We don't know. Or did she leave Summer laying there and take Hunter home and then come back? But I do know when Don is taking us for this little ride in the Subaru, he says, "And we turned here," meaning there was more than one in the car. We turned here. And he stops and he looks up at that hunting blind. And when he looks up, he has got tears in his eyes. Go back and watch. Now, after I put out my theory, and this was 3 months ago, he tears down that hunting blind. That hunting blind is no longer seeable on Google Earth. There was a board sticking out, probably, I don't know, 6 inches, and it had a gap in it. I mean, just big enough for a kid to fit through. And I seen that limestone rock up underneath, and I thought, holy shit, that kid's done hit her head on limestone rock, and it knocked her out, or it killed her. And that was my theory. And that has been part of my theory since day one. Now, however you fit it into your timeline, whether Hunter was took home first, or whether she met Jody Sue at the bottom of the driveway first, or I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that that's what happened to the kid. I don't know. But I think, here's what I think. I think that Summer was took over to Jody Sue's, to the 125 address until all the police cleared out. And I think that's why Jody Sue wouldn't let them search. Or the picture was took just seconds away from the 7600 Lone Star Road address that belongs to her mother-in-law and father-in-law. I've always thought it was an accident. But that's my opinion. I have always looked at an accident theory. Because, and here's why. I have seen tears in Don Wells' eyes, no matter how much bullshit he spits out his mouth. I have seen hurt and I have seen tears in his eyes. More than once. And you can go back to those church videos that was took before Summer disappeared. And who was the one that is sitting in church trying to learn something while his wife is asleep and his kid is acting a fool? And maybe Summer has some sort of learning disability to where she cannot keep still. Maybe she's ADHD. Maybe she's not been taught to keep still because her mom's over here asleep and passed out in church. But you can see that Don is sitting there paying attention with his other two children, trying to learn something, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here. Correct me if I'm wrong. That those videos showed Don sitting there on Saturdays before Summer disappeared. Right? And hunting animals is used to feed your family, right? Exactly. Candace was very rude, in my opinion, sleeping in church, stretched out like it was some kind of park bench. So an accident occurred on her time watch. And if she had a 15-year-old boy there, she's got to ditch the boy. She's got to get rid of the boy before she can call Don, right? She can't call Don with the boy in the truck. So there's your hour of lost time. And if she ever was alive, she lost that time while Candace was ditching the 15-year-old boy. In my opinion. It's very simple. I have tried the overcomplicated theory. I have tried the church theory. I've tried the cult theory. I've tried they are strange. They are a strange bunch. I will look. Them folks are strange. They are very strange. But hey, to each their own. Religion's free in America, right? Sadly. But I can't prove any wrongdoing from anybody in the church. So what more can I put out on them? What more can I say about the church? I can't. I cannot keep on until I have proof. David Dotson was fired from his job months before. And do y'all have any idea how hard it is to cremate a body over an open fire? Yes, Robin Lane, her ex-husband's family in North Carolina has connections to a crematorium. But I can't make that link yet. So I can't really post any more about that. Because that makes me just as bad as these other creators. What I can say is she was swimming in filthy water. What I can say is I do believe she made it home. What I can say is I think her mom was sorry. And if I can find proof on anything else, I will post it. But I think that's the missing hour, is her taking Hunter home. From the time of the accident to her contacting Don. That's the missing hour. Think about it. The past week, I have been really quiet because the whole rest of YouTube has just blown up with ridiculousness. And I'm just I'm not willing to be a part of it. But what I did find, did y'all happen to check out the videos, the shorts that I posted last night? About the chairwoman in Mount Carmel posting pornographic websites on company time. Hey, perfectly broken. That's important because Mount Carmel is where some of these people live. Robin Lane, David Dotson, Tim Mullen. And every one of these men sitting in this board meeting laughed. They laughed at the fact that the woman was making pornographic videos. And they were laughing at the fact that she was doing it on company time. And this is one of the towns, or incorporated towns, by Frisco, that is responsible for bringing summer home. And that's fact. That is a fact. That's factual information. That's probably the most factual information that's been put on YouTube in the last week. And the woman herself sat there and laughed. No big deal. So now it's not just the men like Randy Hass. It's the women too. So, you guys, my viewers, you tell me, where do you want me to dig now? I mean, I have run into, right now, dead ends with the church, as of right now. I know that they're effed up people. I know that they're strange as all get out. I know that they're helping them hide something, but I can't prove it. So, what lead do you want me to chase down next? I think Don Sherfy Jr. is a dead end. And we know, like I stated in the description of this video, I am positive that Jody Sue's son was down there at that creek bottom. I will not back out of that statement. That is a statement that I will stand by. Bet my bottom dollar on it. If not, why does she keep screaming, why do y'all keep, or something about, why do y'all want to dox my son? Well, he's already been shown on the news. We already know who he is. So what's left to dox? The only thing left to dox is the fact that he was down there at that creek bottom with you. And the fact that you're not supposed to be driving on all that medication that you're falling over on, woman. But yet you're driving up and down this road making videos all day long with them children playing in the street. I have thought about starting a petition and presenting it to Ronnie Lawson and to the TBI to force them to search the landfills used by Tucker Construction. How about that? That's about the only thing left to do is serve the state with petitions. That's all I know. That's the only thing left that I can think of, is that maybe he disposed of her in one of those little green construction dumpsters that they dump daily at the landfills. What would y'all say to that? Mount Carmel is where they were setting up the command centers, remember? All those little towns just run together. That's the sadness of all this. They're all unincorporated towns. I don't know what those folks done. I don't give them clicks and views. Like I covered earlier, they didn't go to the right TBI building. They went to the TBI building that only processes evidence. They did not go to the TBI building where the investigators are at. But I don't think they ever went to the landfill. I could see MGL at the landfill. That would be hilarious. But anyway, guys, the sun's getting bright in here. I'm going to have to move to another room. Y'all know I'm a vampire. I hate sunshine. It's giving me a headache. But I love you. I'll probably see y'all later on tonight. Think about what I've said. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side.